Be ready 5 seconds.
Mahendra was a junior supervisor in a firm which offered on hire supervisors at various types of construction sites, factories, bridges, dams, and so on. His job was to keep an eye on the activities at the work site. He had to keep moving from place to place every now and then, as ordered by his head office. From a coal mining area to a railway bridge construction site. From there, after a few months, to a chemical plant which was coming up somewhere. He was a bachelor. His needs were simple and he was able to adjust himself to all kinds of odd conditions, whether it was a circuit house or a makeshift canvas tent in the middle of a stone quarry. But one asset he had was his cook Iswaran. The cook was quite attached to him and followed him wherever he was posted. He cooked for him, washed his clothes, and chatted away with his master at night. He would weave out endless stories and anecdotes on varied subjects. He also had an amazing capacity to produce vegetables and cooking ingredients seemingly out of nowhere in the middle of a desolate landscape with no shops visible for miles around. He would miraculously conjure up the most delicious dishes made with fresh vegetables within an hour of arriving at the new workplace. Mahendra would be up early in the morning and leave for work after breakfast, carrying some prepared food with him. Meanwhile, Ishwaran would tidy up the shed, wash the clothes, and have a leisurely bath, pouring several buckets of water over his head, muttering a prayer all the while. It would be lunchtime by then. After eating, he would read for a while before dozing off. The book was usually some popular Tamil thriller running to hundreds of pages. Its imaginative descriptions would hold him in thrall. His own descriptions were greatly influenced by the Tamil authors that he read. When he was narrating even the smallest of incidents, he would try to work in suspense and a surprise ending into the account. For example, instead of saying that he had come across an uprooted tree on the highway, he would say, with eyebrows suitably arched and hands held out in a dramatic gesture, the road was deserted and I was all alone. Suddenly, I spotted something that looked like an enormous bushy beast lying across the road. Grandfather bought Toto from a driver for the sum of 5 rupees. The driver used to keep the little red monkey tied up, and the monkey looked so out of place there that grandfather decided he would add the little fellow to his private zoo. Toto was a pretty monkey. His bright eyes sparkled with mischief, and his teeth, which were a pearly white, were very often displayed in a smile that frightened the life out of elderly ladies. But his hands looked as though they had been pickled in the sun for many years. Yet his fingers were quick and wicked, and his tail, while adding to his good looks, also served as a third hand. He could use it to hang from a branch, and it was capable of scooping up any delicacy that might be out of reach of his hands. Grandmother always fussed when grandfather brought home some new bird or animal. So it was decided that Toto's presence should be kept a secret from her until she was in a particularly good mood. Grandfather and I put him away in a little closet opening into my bedroom wall, where he was tied securely to a peg in the wall. A few hours later, when grandfather and I came back to release Toto, we found that the walls, which had been covered with some ornamental paper chosen by grandfather, now stood out as naked brick and plaster. The peg in the wall had been wrenched from its socket, and my school blazer, which had been hanging there, was in shreds. I wondered what grandmother would say, but grandfather didn't worry. He seemed pleased with Toto's performance. His presence in the house still a secret, Toto was now transferred to a big cage in the servants' quarters, where a number of grandfather's pets lived very sociably together. A tortoise, a pair of rabbits, a tame squirrel, and for a while my pet goat. But the monkey wouldn't allow any of his companions to sleep at night. So grandfather, who had to leave Dehradun next day to collect his pension in Saharanpur, decided to take him along. Unfortunately, I could not accompany grandfather on that trip, but he told me about it afterwards. A big black canvas bag was provided for Toto. This, with some straw at the bottom became his new abode. When the bag was closed, there was no escape.